Let's give it a minute. Okay, I think we're live now. Welcome, everybody. I don't know how many people we have in the chat since this was a little bit of a short notice YouTube stream, but I've got with us two incredible audiomancers, Akira, also known as LOVECRYPT, and Portals, whose album you've probably heard me play recently on my Twitch live streams. I'm having them on because one, I like their music. I like the LOVECRYPT music label, which you can find on Bandcamp. It's linked to in the show notes here. And also my opening theme from my live stream that all of you love so much is called Escape from Denny's, who is or that Escape from Denny's is a song produced by Storm King,
Yeah.
where God bless him wherever he is, who is a old school LOVECRYPT music artist who I love, whose work I greatly enjoy. So this has direct relevance to what I do. So, anyways, I'll let my guests introduce themselves. Portals and Akira. Portals, you go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and what you do and what you're about.
Well, I'm a guy who made an album, and that's pretty much it.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, I do music. I've been doing it for a long time, but this is the first thing I've made that I don't hate. So that's kind of the beginning of my presentation to the world. It's just this album. I was doing stuff like a few years ago and in the general sphere of things, but everything I was making was crap, and I hope no one listened to it. And so I want this will be my actual beginning. But
Nice.
yeah, I really can't think of anything else. I'm a music generating person.
Excellent. Akira, tell us about yourself and how you got started in this whole business.
Yeah, so it's kind of a long story. I've been on Twitter for seems like ever, and you get to see my lovely default profile image here. I started out as, I guess you could say, a normie, and I was affiliated with like the Bay Area like rationalist, post-rationalist community for a small period of time before I very quickly took a nosedive into accelerationism and all of the wild political energy of like 2016 very strongly formed a lot of my first internet like ideologies. And it was around that time that a fellow named Nishiki Prestige
I miss him.
proposed to me that we start a music label for artists and aesthetics that were out of the mainstream and more like hyper modern and I don't know what you would really call
kind of outsider weird.
Yeah, outsider weird. Yeah. I mean, it's in our description, right? Music for like outsiders, aliens, and time travelers.
Yeah.
And now, then a couple of years later, I underwent a big personal transformation where I came to God, and this, I've written about this elsewhere. I don't want to really shill anything right now, but I kept going with LOVECRYPT, and one day I was basically like, our albums have kind of dried up, like our musicians have all gone their separate ways. Lord, I need some help, right? If you want me to continue with this project or not, that's your call, but like, please send me somebody if it's your will that this continues. And Portals is one of the guys who showed up in the next couple of weeks saying, hey, dude, I'm a musician. I'd like to release music on your label. So you all can make of that what you will.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's another guy, DJ, who
Oh, I love DJ's music. And
DJ's the best.
for anybody who's tuning in or watching this later from my Twitch channel, you would certainly recognize DJ's music from my live streams. He's an
DJ has
incredibly
been,
skilled guy.
like, you want to talk about a sleeper agent. Like, DJ has contributed tracks to several different compilations over the years. I think he's got tracks on every single one of our coronavirus compilations. He's got his own album, maybe even from back before I was like Christian. I don't even remember what day that was, but like all of a sudden he like just like shows up and he's like, I'm ready. I'm 100% on the LOVECRYPT team. Like, I'm here. I'm gonna do all of this stuff like behind the scenes, and I mean, nothing short of divine intervention can basically explain why we're still here and releasing music this year, especially.
Yeah, DJ has put like
Yeah,
insane amount of. He's contributed an insane amount to everything. I mean, like the music video to the second single of the album was he completely saved the day with that, because I was like planned it very badly, had all this footage, and then I think that was around when I had a baby. I think that was part of why I was like, I had all this footage and I needed someone to edit it at the last minute because I just did not have the time.
right.
But yeah, I should add too, because my elevator pitch was awful. My intro is actually didn't realize until now how similar it is to Akira's as well, because I mean, doing stuff kind of like, I knew about LOVECRYPT and Akira in 2016, 2017.
Yeah,
And
I was a big personality on the Twitter scene. Like, I like to think of myself. I liked to think of myself, I'll say, as like a gadfly. I'm posting inflammatory stuff and getting people to because what do you do when you're like a based and red-pilled materialist young guy? Is like you're constantly trying to inflame people and get them to see your side of things, and dunk on the your enemies and so forth.
Yeah, it is really funny because we were like in the same place, and I found LOVECRYPT through a fellow who goes by either Invisible Robot Hands or God's Liquor Cabinet, and under the Invisible Robot Hands project, he released an album that's one of the LOVECRYPT classics.
Definitely.
And I found LOVECRYPT through that, and me and him actually have since then become very close, real life friends. But it is interesting though that our spiritual journey was very similar, because it was like at that time I was in the same exact place spiritually, mentally, and then a few years later came to the Orthodox Church, completely like just dropped the music for a while because I was just like, I don't want to do the wrong thing, and I just took like a hiatus from it, and then came back to it probably not too far off timeline wise, and then had been trying to formulate for the last, like, I don't know, 4 years, like how to make an album that's not spiritually unhealthy, like how to approach music in a way that is at the very least has a neutral spiritual effect, and not a I mean, I try to strive for a positive spiritual effect, but I don't want to be so
I definitely think you captured that, because a lot of music, and kind of like that, I would say is LOVECRYPT adjacent in terms of its genre or production style or whatever. It tends to have a very menacing, discordant feel that, like, that can be fine if you're trying to, like, paint a story or something in your art where it's like, I don't know, this is the descent to Hades part, and hopefully there's some kind of payoff later on. But I think what you were doing with if you can see me, or no, if you can hear me, if you can hear this, send backup. That's the name of the album.
Sorry. Sorry for the mouthful.
No, it's like I also just have whoops, I accidentally my own YouTube in the background. I was like opening up the browser window to make sure like naming the album right, but no, I think like what you were doing with the kind of drum and bass, I don't know if breakcore is the right term, I'm still trying to figure out what qualifies something as
There were a
breakcore.
couple of breakcore tracks in there, but I would not
Yeah.
classify the entire.
Yeah, I still don't know. I've been making music for like 15 years. I
How
still
come
don't
nobody
know
knows what
anything
breakcore
about
is?
any genres. I don't know any like micro-genre terminology at all.
You have to be a genre mancer in order to be able to see to the realm of forms.
Yeah.
In order to determine the genre of a piece of music.
Yeah, but I was saying, like, when I listened to it, it didn't give me a sense of audio menace or anything like that. Like, it was actually very positive to
Bonsoir.
work to. That's our friend Raji. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. He's an awesome French comic artist. Kobo Doc is another one of my guys. He's a moderator over in my Discord and Twitch chat. Also an excellent artist. Yeah, Portals, you bring something up where I hear like a lot of people who are relatively like fresh converts to Christianity or something, where they worry that they're creating somehow like distraction from
did
their
you lose
faith
him
or
too, Akira?
A little bit.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
did
cut
my
out.
yeah,
Just for a phrase or so. It's not a big deal.
I must have hit a little bit of a lag burst. The Xenos are attacking my Starlink satellite, and I need
fixed bayonets. Oh, are you on Starlink too, bro?
Yeah, I'm on the Musknet.
Let's go, baby. Yeah, I just got my Starlink set up, and the upload speed is so much better than like copper.
It's a freaking miracle if you're in a rural area like I am. I was using like gray market cellular modems and stuff.
Let's go.
Prior to this,
using ham radio.
Oh, I mean, just one step away from that, honestly. Yeah. But yeah, like Portals, I was saying, I'll backtrack since I probably got cut out there. Something I've noticed from a lot of other, creative people like artists or musicians or what have you, or people who just have like a really like a hobby that they're super into. They come to God, they become Christian, and then they go through this period where they're agonizing over whether or not the skill or hobby that they had is in some way like a, I don't know, like an imaginative form of idolatry or some kind of like distraction from God. And I never went through that struggle myself. I've always saw it as like, look, your skill is like real estate. Yeah. And it's only as good or bad as what kind of business you decide to build on it. So if you're building a whorehouse on it, yeah, that's a problem. But if you're building a nice little nice restaurant that feeds people, gives people healthy food and a good positive experience and place to hang out with their families and friends, then there's no problem there. It's I think I understand the worry, especially if like your creative background was previously steeped in like, I don't know, hedonism or drugs or something like that. Yeah. But I think ultimately what you're doing is, I wouldn't go as far as to say, oh, this is Christian music, but I don't know, it's music that comes from a place of striving for beauty or music creative excellence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, yeah, I guess the part of that, going with that metaphor, I would say, I guess that phase is sort of just focused on what is that business I want to do and how do I do that? Because it's like you said, I mean, the stuff I was doing creatively, the intentions behind it before I came to the church were like very how do I say, like, I don't know, they were kind of silly. They were kind of just like, I don't know, I was trying to make music that goes hard. I was trying to, it was kind of like, what's the point? Like, what am I trying to actually accomplish with what I'm doing? What am I actually trying to say? So I would say I would say that impulse, that fear is probably good. But I would say that it was less so a fear or like a paranoia of like, how, it wasn't like like a torment or anything. That it was just like trying to figure out. I was also inspired a lot by John Mouse at the time. Like I was like,
oh yeah,
just like
John Mouse.
Just research, like searching up and like studying all of his interviews and trying to like, because as soon as I started hearing him talk about like his intentions behind his work, I was like starting to really, and this was when I was like a catechumen. I was starting to really like start to conceptualize in my head how to make something that has an actual purpose, in as far as like, trying to actually come to a real encounter with another human being through art. And so yeah, it was the process was basically just like that. It was just like, how do I, and I would say I'm still going through that process, and I'm probably going to continue to be going through that process till I die, because or till I stop making music. But yeah, I'm always thinking about, even with this album, I'm like, I don't know, I'm looking at where it falls short in that, and really trying to focus on what to make that would have that positive effect, I guess.
Let's talk actually a little bit about that album. I'm gonna see if I can share a screenshot of it here. I'll post a link to it in the chat as well for people who want to check it out. But what was your inspiration behind it? Like, just tell us about like how the whole thing came about and all that.
Well, actually, it kind of transitions perfectly from what we're saying, because this album was basically, I would say this album is the result of that whole process. It's like that whole process was basically the driving force behind the album. Like, I would say this album, I started probably working on this album in earnest like 5 years ago, and it's gone through several iterations where I've had full groups of songs, and I'm like, nope, this is not what I want, and I throw the whole thing in the trash. And so it's funny because most of the songs are not that old. There's a couple ones, I think, like Paint a Picture is pretty old. There's a couple that are like pretty, like I would say probably like 5-year-old songs that I've been working on for that long. But for the most part, they were like stuff that was made after the throwaway stuff. But
Could you keep
I
that
guess
up? I like looking at my website.
Yeah, I'll put it back up. Yeah.
But I would say, yeah, that was kind of the main driving force behind it, was trying to figure out, I guess, what to say, what my intention was. And then I guess conceptually, the idea behind the album was sort of trying to express, when you have this world without truth, so to speak, or I guess where truth is no longer accepted, and you have a human being trying to make amends with that somehow, or trying to survive in that world, and that person is pushed to their limit, kind of what happens to that person, or what like, how do you, trying to capture that, I guess. If you're pushing a person to their limit by forcing, a human being is by nature tied to, a divine truth, I would say. So it's like you're taking a human being and forcing them to uh, uh, somehow make amends with a world that is fundamentally against that. And push them and push them and push them, kind of, what's going to happen. And that's kind of that's why it ends the way it does, is because that audio at the end of the title track is from the Nashville bombing, and that the Nashville Christmas bombing from a couple of years ago, and the concept of that really captures this, because it's a person who was pushed to their limit, yet at the end didn't want to hurt anyone. They just wanted to cut the wires. The person just got into an RV and just suicide bombed an AT&T data hub. And that's kind of why, I mean, I'm obviously not trying to make light of that, but I'm trying to do the opposite, actually. I'm trying to make us all kind of think about that. But I guess that's kind of the idea behind it. And then
where did this come from? Is this from like Kid Pics or something?
Yes, that was
nice.
That's also a part of it that I wanted to include, was sort of, so there's the concept of everything I was just talking about, and then one of the aspects that I think helps drive that is this idea of a technology that is, how do I explain, like we for the most part now view technology as this malevolent thing that sinks its teeth into reality and tries to change the way we think and tries to control us.
Oh yeah.
And so I
Or
thought
ends
it
up
would also be what was that?
Or it ends up controlling us because of the force that it exerts being existing.
Yeah,
for a
and
while.
so I tried to create a sort of juxtaposition where you have this on one hand you have this person being pushed to their limit, and then on the other hand you have this, to me, Kid Pix kind of represents this sort of very isolated little corner of technology where it's just purely the creative spirit, because it's just for kids, right? It's just kids throwing up colors and making sounds, and it reminds me of a it reminds me of a point. Yeah, that sound.
Oh no!
Yep.
Oops.
It reminds me of a point where it reminds me of a time when technology, not that it didn't have any negative effects at that time, but it just reminds me of a time where, or a certain example of technology where it was purely kind of about the creative spirit. And so I wanted to kind of juxtapose that like childish sort of childlike imagery with it's almost like, you have the beginning of the album starts with a very, sort of representing the beginning of someone's life because it's, childlike, and then it ends with, an end. And so that was kind of not intentional, but it ended up kind of working in the end. But anyway, yeah, it's from Kid Pix. Yeah.
Yeah, I did, and I definitely agree. Like I mean, as somebody who's a digital artist, even though like I, traditionally trained and stuff, and inevitably you run into these questions of, how much there's it's a little bit easy for people to say like, what if too much phone bad? It's like, yeah, we all know that ideally, we would all be completely unplugged and, living in nice little cabins with our families and having natural food grown off the land, but that's just not the reality that we live in. And so like technology is here and it's not going away. And if you don't use it, you're just going to be kind of steamrolled and forgotten. So I think that's why I don't take a Luddite position like some people do. I understand like some people need to do it just for their own personal sanity. Like technology is a stumbling block for them. And I think that has to be, respected.
Mm-hmm.
But like I think in our case, you guys as, electronic musicians and game designers, which we'll get into. And, myself as a digital artist, like trying to treat it as just a tool rather than it treating you like the tool is really there's no way out, only through. And that's the only way through, it seems like.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know who's Jack. Do we found out about Portals thanks to Sad World and Fun Church. I haven't heard of those guys in a while. Hope they're doing well.
Yeah, that was my original. That was that period I was talking about.
Oh, nice.
2017 Portals.
Oh wait, were you on Fun Church?
I was doing. I think the only thing that I ended up having on there was some sound effects and music.
Okay. Yeah, I used to send in some super chats and stuff watching them live. Those were fun.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that's part of what I'm trying to express with that, showing that sort of imagery and stuff and also with the album itself being kind of primitive. The whole thing is made with old software and hardware, and I'm trying to express that as well. It's just like a form of using technology that is, kind of more simple, not trying to control, just trying to, I guess kind of just trying to be Kid Pix, I guess.
Yeah. Reminds me of what like FODCorp or FODCOM is doing with 3dtestosterone.net.
FOD and all of them have been a huge inspiration from the beginning for me. Yeah,
it was those guys that, like, just seeing what they're doing made me like kind of. Originally I was trying to redesign my website in Wix and WordPress and all this stuff, and I just felt so sinister, cramped. Like it was just. Yeah. I felt like these minimalizing UIs were like funneling me towards a stripped down, sterilizing experience
Oh, yeah.
of the internet where
Absolutely.
I felt like just claustrophobic. Like I'm working on my freaking desktop computer, which, you know, should be a fun like command center of creativity. And yet I feel like I'm being like shoved into this like forced mobile friendly kind of experience. And I just said,
Yeah.
you know what, screw it. I'm just going to do the whole thing in just straight up hand code it in brackets and HTML and CSS. I'm going to throw in embedded music and a guest book and a links page and web rings and all that crap. Like I'm done with like trying to appear professional.
I think FOD's whole idea of network spirituality kind of encapsulates it pretty well. It's like, you know, using the network in a way that is, I mean, it's really kind of what we're all trying to do, I guess. LOVECRYPT and everything. It's just kind of trying to structure everything in a way that's actually conducive to being a human being and not anything else.
Yes, we here at LOVECRYPT work hard to make serial experiments laying real.
Nice. I actually only got to watch a little bit of that as when I was way younger. Back when, like, I rented like a VHS from, was it Blockbuster? I think it was Blockbuster. Gosh, this is how long ago it was.
Watching on VHS.
Oh yeah, it was legit.
Let's go.
Yeah, I remember watching Berserk on VHS with my mom. Oh,
that's
my gosh.
Amazing.
Thankfully, we did not get to the ending, but yeah, I need to watch that. Where was I going with that? But yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like keeping the digital experience as hands-on and keeping the digital as analog feeling as possible. Like the sensation of, you know, you're working with code or you're drawing something and there is a certain level of skill or language learning or you're thinking it's like, you know, playing with Legos or something. It's, you know, versus like using a AI art generator, which I have mixed feelings on it. It's like, you know, I could see it as like being beneficial as like a way to let people who have genuine artistic and aesthetic sensibilities use a shortcut to just take the menial parts away from things so they can focus on like the creative meat of it. But this sort of fire hose of content, like just trash content that we're seeing is that's the big scare.
I think, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I remember I forgot who it was. Someone made a video on Terry Davis's concept of entertaining Mr. God. And I liked the guy, it was a game dev. He was saying that his kind of interpretation of that is building the thing from the kind of from the lowest level you can. Like this guy was making a game, but he was also writing his own game engine for it. And everyone else was saying, oh, why don't you use like Unity or something? He was like, because I'm trying to entertain Mr. God. I'm trying to like, you know, make something that, you know, I guess just in the process of building the thing from the ground, trying to, I guess, glorify God in that way, like just trying to practice your kind of creative abilities. But I think with like the AI and stuff, it's like, I don't think shortcuts are inherently bad, but whenever I have to do a shortcut, it's because I have to. Like,
yeah,
I'm getting into game dev stuff right now, and I'm like, I really don't want to use an engine. I would love to just program it all in C99, but then I wouldn't have any, like, I wrote the first kind of game dev thing I did was I wrote a 3D engine in just pure C and SDL. And that literally took me 1.5 years to get a thing that like is like you can only have one mesh in the world and it's super laggy. And it took me 1.5 years. So it's like I guess there's a balance there. I'd say there's nothing
release game engines for a reason. Yes.
Yeah. But the process was awesome. And I would say, like, you know, I do recommend that sort of thing, whatever that equivalent is for your art form. But I would say, yeah, like the shortcuts aren't inherently bad, but it's just like, you know, a lot of times you just kind of have no other choice. Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have infinite time.
Yeah, I've been using ChatGPT as a replacement for search engines because search engines have just become just diabolically stupid.
Yeah.
Where it's like okay, yeah, I have to resort to this this uptalk nasally voiced, I can just imagine it in my head, this robot, talking to me, and like the millennial uptalk, everything like a question, really, very timidly
Yes.
nice kind of tone.
As of
And I'm
my
getting,
cutoff period in 2021, like that.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Oh,
what you
geez.
gotta
So,
do, dude, you have to make it act like Jeeves from the P.G. Wodehouse
You
novels.
got to show me how to do that,
Hmm.
dude. I don't even know how to set, because
I
you have
will.
your own instance of GPT, right? That's what that is.
It's not a self-hosted model. Well, I did have one of those, but my desktop computer is kaput right now. So this is just using the stock one that they ship you on their website, right? And you feed it a prompt that makes it act like Jeeves, and then all of the output that you get is in like the Queen's finest English. It uses it's got scriptural references interwoven and like call outs to the literature greats of the last few centuries. It's like straight out of a Wodehouse novel. Yeah. So um I don't know, maybe I can send you like a paste of it in the show notes or something, but
I'd be interested. Yeah.
yeah, I'll send it to you after, or I can read out the prompt right now too from just or something like I'll get some highlights. I don't want to read you a paragraph of text.
Yeah. You can just send it through
Yeah.
text medium.
So his name
Because
is
we also mentioned game design. Akira, are you ready to tell us about what you've been working on?
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I have been intending to delve into the realm of game dev for some time. Last time I had a break from work, I took that time to prototype out a game that me and my wife had been wanting to make. That's not released yet, and I think we're going to have to do it over from scratch if we want to release it. But that was very useful to kind of solidify, like, yeah, like making games is awesome. I want to make more games. And it turns out that, wasting your youth playing video games actually has the side effect of like embedding in your mind these concepts that you can then refer back to in the process of creating a new game. So like if I'm playing a roguelike, for example, I kind of can tell whether something is fun or whether it's like OP or, underpowered. And the a world in which we live kind of is getting more and more and more to the point where stuff that grabs people's attention and like engages them is highly in demand. And so if you want to send a message, it used to be you could write an essay, but now people just won't read it. I would much rather make a video game than play a video game at this point, because I just don't have really as much time, maybe even at all, to play the video games anymore. So I kind of get my kicks by working on them. And this was all sort of coming to a head when my employer was like, "Hey, we are working on this crazy new project, and we have some concepts that we want to like show to the user in an interactive and fun way. So could you do a little game for us that we could teach people how our stuff works?" And I was like, "You want me to? I'm a web dev. You want me to make a game for you in the web browser?" And they're like, "Yeah, dude, that's exactly what I want." And I said, "Wow, this is, quite literally a dream come true, right?" Because, oh yeah, no, it's a huge, definitely. Kovadoc says, working on games, you must nurture and grow a bunch of other skill sets. That is 100% correct, because you're writing code. If you're doing I'm not sure how else you would do a game. You're writing code that runs every frame that you can run it. So at the outset, you are running into algorithmic constraints. How do I write code efficiently? Deeper in, you're building these more and more complicated structures that all interact with each other. So you're asking yourself, well, how do I represent information efficiently between components? How do I make sure that if I need to change something, it doesn't take me 6 hours and it only takes me like 15, right? How do I keep it sane to read and come back to like a week or a month later if I don't remember exactly what's going on? It's huge and hard. But where this is all going is I've decided that LoveCrypt doesn't have enough hype. And in order to increase hype, I can't make music. This is my big secret. I don't actually produce music. I just run the music label, or I guess now it's a music collective, or whatever you want to call it. I just own the login to the website, right? And all this time, I've been making sure to find and pay musicians to keep that website going as part of this mission that we have. And I do consider it a mission from God. Like you were talking, Reagan, and Portals about like, excuse me, like using your talents like real estate, and it's definitely true that you kind of go through a crisis. You're like, well, I the scales have fallen from my eyes, right? I've been persecuting Christians, on my horse with a sword, and like what do I do now? Like, well, and in the case of Paul, what he did was like he was already excellent at public speaking and writing. He had a great mind, and so he served the church in the way that he could, given what talents he had. And it's evident to me anyway, especially given Portals and DJ and all the rest showing up and sticking with, that this is one of the things I'm supposed to be keeping doing. So in pursuit of that goal, I'm going to be releasing a game on the 15th called Demon Feller. And you play as a feller who goes down to fell fallen angels to the depths of hell at the start of the apocalypse, to send them to their final resting place, the pit, where the worm dieth not. And a couple of games influenced me in the creation of this. Like Binding of Isaac was a big one. I definitely didn't get.
I still gotta play that.
Yeah, well, it's definitely one of those games that like really defined the genre early on, right? Like so many roguelikes owe creative credits to Binding of Isaac, and it came around early enough that almost everybody has heard about it, if not played it. And they're still releasing like updates and remixes and stuff to it. Like I think even just last year, the year before, they came out with a new version. So, ironically, also full of biblical themes, although maybe not in necessarily the pursuit of a biblical life. They just kind of like smash stuff in there. It's like, I'm gonna play as Azrael, the demon of like, whatever. But the core game loop is actually very simple, right? You're in rooms full of enemies. You're trapped in a room until you defeat all the enemies. You get some power-ups and you move on, right? As you increase level, the enemies get harder and more in number. But as long as you survive, you can keep going, right?
It's kind of like Gauntlet.
Yeah, absolutely. And the core concept, I intended to keep it very simple so that I could actually finish it. And like forcing myself to release this game has been good, and I think it will be good for the label if we can keep releasing games that are not gigantic, small enough that you can finish them in, I don't know, 15, 30 minutes, an hour if you really like it, but still on some level, both on a material level, like this is LoveCrypt, this is our music, like come check us out, but also on like a spiritual level, like providing some kind of intangible exposure, if you will, to higher realities. Because like you can't actually convince people of stuff. Like you can't talk to somebody and expect them to even see your viewpoint, much less, or expect them to even understand what you're saying, much less see your viewpoint. But I think that like being Christian in public is enough to like kind of stack the deck, right? God's going to come and knock on that door when he wants to. And you're in the background of that person's life when that event happens, right? It's not up to you whether they, I mean, because this is free will. They're going to make their own choice.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that too. I remember like I think it was like all throughout the 2000s and kind of the maybe early part of the 2010s, there was this big idea that, well, we're just going to rational debate people into believing Christianity, and then that's gonna seal the deal. And it's like almost so many people I know who kind of came into it through that, ended up just lapsing out of it and never coming back. And I think I mean, for some people, the people who are like those really, really like just cogs and wheels kind of analytical minds, they do need that rationalistic, deductive approach into it.
Well, I wouldn't say that I was one of those guys, because I was not at all on that level when I came to believe. Like, and the process by which I came to believe was entirely like experiential and like not like the result of a reasons chain of argumentation. But like, after that, I went looking for answers to things. And the fact that there was this body of thousands of years of philosophy and tradition and like, the human race's most sophisticated truth structure out there waiting to be discovered and explained and like examined, ruthlessly examined, right? And like, oh yes, well, this is incorrect, and so we discard it and we go with the alternative. That was like essential for me to understand that this wasn't just the next thing to feel. This was like reality. You can look at it as long as you want, and it will still be like true and make sense. No experience that you have is going to change whether this is true.
What's funny is my experience with coming to the faith was actually kind of, it was that, but in reverse. Actually, it was like the rational arguments were, because I was so like rational. It was like God needed to give me something to appease my freaking, rational debater brain.
Do you have a source for that claim?
What?
Do you have a source for that claim?
Yeah, basically. That's where I was. And then like, so that's what led me to the church. And then once I was in there, that's when I had the realization of like, wait a second, I can't, this can't sink into my heart through just reason. Like I can argue with someone and definitely give them a rational argument for why the worldview is correct, but that's not what being a Christian is. That's not what the actual experience is.
But even so, you need the rational aspects to be able to explain yourself so that you can hold your own when you're challenged, right? This is the great value of it, is that so you can demonstrate to somebody that, okay, now granted, there is an axiom prior to all of this reasoning that cannot be rationally justified, but if you hold that axiom to be true, then all of the rest follows logically, step after step, right? And you want to expose to the other person that they also hold an axiom which they cannot rationally justify, and prompt them to basically examine whether or not that axiom is actually true.
Everything essentially becomes like a sort of form of transcendental argument.
Deep Soy, what's up?
Oh, hey, what's up, Deep Soy?
Yo,
one of the OG LOVECRYPT greats.
Nice.
Deep Soy, I feel like for me, made like the theme song to Hostage Museum. That's what's that called? What's that song? Oh my gosh, the one that's in. I think he has several songs in the film, so I don't know if that's if I can say that's the one that's in the film. But there was one.
I don't think I've seen this film.
Oh yeah, that was. That's a must watch.
Okay,
If you go
I'll have
on,
to catch up on that.
let's see if it's still is it still hostagemuseum.neocities.
Do you want me to pull up the game while we're discussing it?
Yeah, go ahead and pull up the game. I'll put it on screen share so we can watch your browser window. I'll probably have the audio muted for a bit just so we can keep talking, but I'll enable the audio at some point so people can get a taste of that too.
So yeah, shout out Hostage Museum. It's hostagemuseum.newcities.org, and it's like $5 for the whole movie.
Yeah, I'll get a direct link and post it in the chat so people can check it out.
It's a classic.
Okay. Well, let me know if y'all can see that.
Yep.
All right. Let's get
Nice
started.
and clear.
Let's fell some demons.
Oh, that's not too loud. We can keep the audio on. That's cool.
All right. So we have the now playing up here.
This is now a gamer stream.
This is now a gamer stream.
So did you designed these graphics with pencil and paper, right?
Yeah, so I intentionally kept the graphics as stupid simple as I could, because on the one hand I wanted to be able to actually finish the graphics, and on the other hand I didn't want to have to like do a bunch of processing or anything once I sorry. Once I started, like, if I needed to add something new, I didn't want there to be a huge like pipeline of processing art in the way. And so basically I just drew everything about as big as I wanted it to be in the game relative to the feller, and like cut it out on a page, or I scanned the whole page and then I just cut it out in an image program. GIMP, shout out to GIMP, the GNU image manipulation program, MVP. Oh yeah. And aside from like messing with the contrast and brightness and occasionally normalizing colors to be a little bit more consistent, I didn't. Oh no, we're not going to die on stream, are we? Oh no. Oh, do we have two mothers in here? Oh, we do. Oh, this is not looking good for our heroes. Yeah, those salacious hussies are birthing the children of perdition before our very eyes. I'm gonna have to. Oh man. All right. Yeah, they're pretty tanky, so we're gonna get some exciting gameplay. Oh, okay. I think we got one. All right. Yes. The other thing I tried to do with this game, in addition to, and well, turns out I died.
You died.
Yep. Let's see if the screen gets a bit bigger. I thought I could make it a little easier with having it small. It looks a bit crowded because my window's tiny, but
dang it, you cut off your death cut off the smoke access song.
Oh really? Oh yeah, dude. It's all right.
That's a classic, the go-to lifting LOVECRYPT song.
Yeah,
nice.
Dude. So I definitely dug into. It's another room with two enemies. They're only supposed to spawn half as often as the other enemies. I really dug into the archives for this one because there's so much of the old LOVECRYPTs that I wanted to bring back to the forefront. And I think it's paid off because, I mean, Reagan himself was saying that, like, this really captures the dungeon crawling feel. That made me so happy when you said that.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of playing, like, the original, was it Link's Awakening on Game Boy? Or Gauntlet on NES. I played Gauntlet so much.
There you go.
Simple like isometric dungeon kind of slog. Oh jeez. Oh. Yeah, I also love that you had the Wilhelm scream in there.
Yeah, so for the sound effects, we have not only royalty-free Wilhelm screens, but also a bunch of assets that GDC puts out every year in big packs for people to use free of charge. So shout out to GDC. I was able to pick up some stuff like the creepy. I don't think we've actually seen a glutton yet, but when we find a glutton, you'll hear him like breathing heavily as you hit him with bullets. And I think there's another. Oh, yeah, we actually have two gluttons here.
Colin was saying that this kind of reminds him of a Newgrounds game, and which I totally didn't think about that, but it does capture that feel of
definitely the aesthetic.
Just early internet, browser flash gaming, which I really like that.
Like, this is the kind of thing I would play in the school library.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher shows up.
Yeah, because you can't install games on the library computers, but you can always access Newgrounds or Albino Black Sheep.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Okay, sweet. So we've actually got two shields now, and if you notice, the shields are actually opening. They're wielding to protect you, right? Oops. Oh yeah. Here's a tech. Screamers. You can walk through diagonals by holding up or down. Many do not know this. So shields are useful because they block a hit, and once you get to second level or beyond, they're going to be hitting you for more than 1 HP. But they do disappear, so you're going to have to be careful.
For anybody watching, wondering where all the music is coming from, this is all in the LOVECRYPT discography, which I have linked in the show notes. Go check out the Bandcamp.
Oh, I got hit by the imp. The one saving grace with imps is that they have a small chance to randomly change their direction. So if there's one on your tail, you're not necessarily dead. Okay.
Yeah. So how long has it taken you to get this far on making the game?
If my calculations are correct, I think I will have spent about 6 weeks on this thing.
That's not bad at all.
No,
that's a good.
really
That's a good like example of. I talk about this a lot in my Twitch streams where people, a lot of creators they'll take on something that is overly ambitious, which I mean, it's good to take on something ambitious, but if you don't know where the destination is on the map, you're never going to finish it, and you're just going to end up being disappointed and discouraged.
Level 1.
So and so I think like what you said earlier about being able to make games that are small but engaging, but most importantly finished, rather than super huge and perfect.
Yeah.
Sure. I think that's a really good creative principle that I try to stick by. Like, it's always better to get something finished rather than perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So are these rooms procedurally generated?
Yes. The rooms are basically everything in the game is random. There's a great library for generating dungeons composed only of square rooms with doors. It's just called Dungeon. I found it because I was looking for examples on how to make things, and it ended up being good enough. I just went with it. I can modify it if I wanted, but I really, it's like you said, you want to keep it small, you want to keep it finished or achievable. And here we go, we've maxed shield now. See all the open are like blinking at different frequencies. There's one of my favorite visual effects in the game right now. We really want to take out these gambler guys, the coveters, as quickly as you can, because they don't shoot as many bullets as the gluttons, but they do target you, and their rate of fire increases as the levels get up. So at higher levels, they kind of hit you with these walls of coins that you have to really work through. And shout out to, I think it was ACTG, who recommended the mini map, who's playing right now.
Yeah, ACTG is for anybody who's watching. Most of you probably recognize him from the Twitch chat and Discord as well. He's been
Another one of the LOVECRYPT greats.
yeah, he's been a longtime supporter of what I'm doing with Wyatt and everything. I'll actually post a link to his music in the chat here. Got with us freaking double audio.
He actually surprised me with some tapes.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Shoot, mine came in. Can't believe I just almost forgot that. Yeah, so I got some tapes from ACTG just yesterday. Picked them up.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be playing those on my next stream.
I swapped a piece of gear with him, and he just threw those in as a surprise, which I really appreciate. And I literally have a little tape player I use for like work background music, so I don't get distracted by crap. And so it's gonna be awesome. I could just listen to that.
Yeah, I do. I'm kind of the same way. Like I try to resist that itch to shuffle and skip songs and stuff, and putting on my cassette player is a great way to prevent that.
Also, pro tip: Pilot Red Sun on a tape sounds awesome.
Oh yeah.
Pilot Red Sun.
Have you listened to Pilot Red Sun's music?
No, I don't think so. Is he on? I don't think so.
I mean, he's not. I don't think any of us. I think AC has probably talked. I think he has talked to him in the past, but none of us are like, we don't know him personally, but he's kind of a pretty known figure in this general sphere, just based on his cartoons and his music.
I'm gonna check him out. I've never heard of that.
Oh man,
yeah, some classics. Whew. But that and like Deus Ex soundtrack on tape.
Oh, geez, yeah.
All right, I think coming up in the last stretch of rooms here. I'm level 2. My HP is pretty bad, but I do have a life here. This little wing. So we'll see. Okay. Another little known fact, which I'm not going to do right now.
So have you worked with any other engines, Akira?
Yeah, so I have worked with I've worked with both Unity and Phaser. This isn't Phaser. Phaser is the library that I elected to.
Oh.
Uh-oh, did we lose him?
Yep, I think he's frozen for both of us.
Oh no. Well, hopefully he'll get back here. Hey, DJ's in the chat.
DJ's here.
Most awesome.
The background.
Oh geez, yeah, I guess Akira's connection dropped out. Oh, is he back?
Well,
and we're back. We're laggy, but we're back.
Yeah, one of the downsides with Starlink. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was already working in JavaScript as my main gig, so I decided to use Phaser instead of Unity. Because Unity is like C#. I've done C# before. I really don't like it very much, and there's also a lot of extra steps to basically get somebody to game once you've written it.
I've never worked with C#, but my coworker recently told me that it's basically just like it's very similar to Java. So for that alone, I do not want to ever touch it.
Yeah, Java's awful. Don't ever use it. Don't ever use
But the reason why is because DJ knows I've been trying to get Unreal working on Linux for the last 3 weeks, and I just cannot do it. So I was about to concede and use Unity. But have I showed you my True Space 3D stuff?
Ooh, I don't think so.
Because we should. I was thinking of using that as a backdrop for a next game.
Let's do it. Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to do that.
It would have to be like a fixed camera angle, like Resident Evil.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Because it's just 3D.
Oh, that would be really cool.
If you just pull up, actually, I have one sketch on a website that I never worked on. If you pull up backworlds.neocities.org, you'll see an example there.
All right, I'll take that out. I was originally thinking about hosting my site on NeoCities.
It's pretty cool.
Right now, I just have a different, a regular like host, but I don't know. What would you recommend NeoCities if I'm just doing like HTML and CSS and basic JavaScript?
Yeah, if you don't want to worry about like server stuff and hosting stuff, that's like you know, I don't know. I'm still on the fence with that, whether I want to ultimately go with that or host my own thing.
Yeah.
Hosting your own thing is one of those tasks where it will cost you like inversely as much as you are familiar with it. So like, for me, like I really don't like you know, the websites is my bread and butter. So I decided to host my own. I'm still going to put it up on itch, I think. In the end, there are 3 covers in this room, and I'm very distracted. Yeah, they're just chewing through the rocks too.
It was Las Vegas.
Yeah, no, they like, ooh, baby. But the good news is I got a power up out of one of those rocks, and there you go. That's why you use the brandish, fellas. Uh-oh. Okay, well that guy killed me from beyond the grave. Anyway, uh-oh. Yeah, I think my poor little laptop is starting to feel it, but we're we're all right. We're all right.
Yeah, back to like the hosting thing. Like somebody recommended to me like doing was it VPS or something, and I don't know. It sounded great, like you know, owning the server space and everything. But I think for somebody like me who like my main focus is just putting out artwork while maintaining some level of manual control over my website experience. I don't know if I need something that deep.
Yeah, you can always do GeoCities and then do your own URL.
Yeah.
If you can SSH into a computer, a VPS is basically just you pay somebody for a computer to SSH into. Not the worst option.
That is true.
But like I said, if you're not like, if you don't know what Nginx is, then you might not want a VPS.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Nginx or anything like that.
Yeah, that's just the kind of thing where like, obviously you can do it, but there's a big cost if you're not familiar. Because you have to tell your computer to give the user a website page when they reach you from a certain URL.
You're essentially doing it from scratch.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of stuff you have to learn. And that's why people make money selling solutions, right?
Yeah.
Rocket Worm says, "Oh, hello. Do I know Rocket Worm?" Well, either way, welcome, Rocket Worm.
Willkommen. Bonsoir.
Oh, did we lose you?
Lose him again.
I think you might have lagged out. Oh, it's Catherine Garner. Okay, cool. Yeah, she's a friend of Doug to Naples and part of the whole crew.
I'll stop for now. We've got through a few levels. You kind of get a basic idea of the game.
So where can people find this game when it's coming out, and when is it coming out?
It is coming out on September 15th, the feast of Our Lady of Sorrows.
Nice.
Yes. You'll be able to find it on itch.io, and there's no charge to play. It's free to play. All the artists are credited. Well, here we are. All of these guys' music is in here, and yeah, I mean, it's been an amazing journey. I'm super stoked that you were excited enough about it to let me show it out. And I'm looking forward to making more games in the future.
I'm really interested to see where you go with this. Like I especially like the idea of, I don't know, if down the line, if you do something that is, how do I put it? Like definitely like dungeon synth to the max, you know, just like grainy black and white, black metal album art kind of graphics. Like, I'd be into that.
Yeah. That
I know a lot of people would be too.
Idea.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great idea. Yeah. I mean, you have inspired me, sir.
Anyways, we're just past the hour here, and I figure we could probably put a bookmark in this, but before we wrap up, so your game's coming out on the 15th, and I'll
That's
have the
right.
link to. I'll be sure to add the link to that to the show notes here when it comes out. But until then, people should definitely check out the link tree that I posted in the show notes, where they can find you across. You're on Twitter, Instagram. You've got your website.
Yeah.
YouTube.
So the music is on lovecrypt.net. That's really where I want people to go. Like, my Twitter is just like me doing stuff and occasionally talking about things. I guess I'll announce the game on my Twitter. So yeah, it's twitter.com/lovecrypt. Be advised, you may be exposed to memes as a byproduct of following this account. I'm trying to get better, I swear. My doctor says I'm almost healed. Yeah, no, and the link, I believe, will be just itch.io/lovecrypt/demon-feller. But don't quote me on that just yet.
Got it.
Yeah, that's, oh no, sorry, it's lovecrypt.itch.io/demon-feller. Well, there you have it. First time game developer, by the way. Yeah.
No, I mean, if this is your first game and it holds together this well, like, I think there's gonna be some pretty sweet stuff coming down.
I hope so.
Shoot.
Every, like, I don't know, every time I think about my life, I'm reminded of the parable of the talents with the guy who receives 10. And our Lord is pleased with him because he takes his talents and he produces something more out of them, right? But he produces as much as he was given. And when you think about everything that we've been given, that's actually a really tall order.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a programmer, right? I'm online. I'm living in, like, America. I've been given a lot, man, and I just pray that our Lord has mercy on me when he sees how little I've been able to give him back, right?
I definitely get you.
Task we have before us.
Portals. Any parting words from you? Like, what have you got in store in the near future?
Well, in terms of what I got in store, probably going to be focusing a lot more on game dev as well. So I'll probably just be combining forces. So I would just say stay tuned with LoveCrypt for that. You can see anything I'm doing in particular just on my YouTube. It's really the only place you'll see me, I guess, YouTube/Portals channel. And then parting words, I would say shout out to my wife, Laura.
Nice.
Laura, what's up?
Because nothing, if anyone likes my stuff and appreciates, none of that stuff would be possible without her. She's been with me since the beginning of that whole journey I said before.
This is a wife guy chat now.
Yeah, this is a wife guy chat.
Shout out to the wives.
But yeah, shout out to her, because none of this stuff would be possible. She's to me what DJ is to LoveCrypt.
Nice.
So. Are you saying DJ's my wife?
Yeah, DJ. No, I'm saying LoveCrypt the label. He's the label's wife.
Right.
That makes me think of 1 second.
Yeah, if you do
one particular Bible passage, and I'm reading it out of my friend Matt Rhodes' book, because he puts it right in the front, where talks about. Let me find the quote. Where is it? Oh yeah, where he dedicated the book to his wife Kate. And quoted, from Proverbs 31, an excellent wife who can find. She is far more precious than jewels.
Yeah.
Her children rise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many women have done excellently, but you surpass them all.
Yeah, that's the goal.
God, yeah. If you do put up the link tree, which I guess I should recommend, there's a couple of articles that I wrote about my experience returning to the church, or I guess coming to the first time, because it was pretty insane. Or should I say sane, right?
Yeah.
Definitely singular experience. But yeah, I'm super stoked about getting to put Bible verses in my game as the descriptions of enemies instead of anything useful.
Yeah. And that's pretty cool. I mean, High Fleet sort of does it.
Yeah.
I mean, why can't you? Well, anyways,
Having a
I
song, bro.
think I'm looking forward to seeing more of what you guys have in store. Like your stuff is incredibly inspiring. I love listening to Lovecrypt tunes while I draw, while I work out. Um, I'll be sure to update the show notes too to link to ACTG, DJ, anybody else who was relevantly mentioned in the show,
Yeah.
and all that. And so please, folks, remember to check back on this video later for updated links. I will have them in there. Thank you everybody for watching, and thank you so much to Portals and Akira for coming in. Like, this was an excellent conversation, and next time you guys have something coming out, I would love to have you on.
Appreciate that, man. God bless.
Yeah,
God bless you.
All right, I'll see you all, and I'm going to end the stream now. Goodbye forever.